US President Donald Trump has always been known for his unconventional approach to foreign policy. Recently, he has intensified his rhetoric against Ukraine and the European Union. This has led to speculation about a potential shift in US foreign policy. Some analysts believe that Trump is signaling a move away from traditional alliances. This could mean a closer relationship with Russia. Trump's comments have been met with concern by many world leaders. They fear that a US-Russia alliance could destabilize the global order. The European Union, in particular, is worried about the implications for its security. The EU has long relied on the United States for protection. A shift in US policy could leave the EU vulnerable to Russian aggression. The potential for a US-Russia alliance raises many questions. What would be the basis of such an alliance? What would it mean for the future of NATO? How would China react to this development? These are all questions that will need to be answered in the coming months and years. Trump's comments have certainly shaken up the world stage. It remains to be seen whether they will lead to a realignment of global power, or if they are just another negotiation strategy by which the US president tries to maximize his gain. The European continent, and NATO for that matter, have long relied on the US for security guarantees and military power, and their concerns are most obvious in these turbulent times. Maybe President Trump considers that now is the time to cash in and maximize the profit. Nevertheless, even hypothetically, a potential alliance between the United States and Russia stirs the waters and would have far-reaching consequences if brought into fruition. It would fundamentally reshape the geopolitical landscape. The world has been structured around a US-led order for decades. This order has been based on the principles of democracy, free markets, and human rights. Russia, on the other hand, has challenged this order. It has sought to promote its own authoritarian model. A US-Russia alliance would call into question the future of the liberal world order. And Trump's authoritarian tendencies and the way he relates to dictators like Putin brings this into question more and more often. This situation could embolden other authoritarian regimes around the world. Such an alliance would also have major implications for global security. The United States and Russia possess the world's two largest nuclear arsenals. An alliance between them could lead to a new arms race, other players like China, India, or the European Union being likely to feel threatened. It could also make it more difficult to address other pressing security challenges such as climate change and terrorism. The potential for a US-Russia alliance is a cause for both concern and uncertainty. It is a development that could have profound implications for the future of the whole world. The possibility of a US-Russia alliance presents China with a complex dilemma. China has benefited from the existing global order. It has used this order to fuel its economic rise. However, China has also become increasingly assertive on the world stage. It has challenged US hegemony in Asia. A US-Russia alliance would force China to reassess its strategic options. China could choose to side with the United States and Russia. This would give it a powerful bloc to counterbalance the West, but the issue of Taiwan remains problematic, and it is being fueled by the American president antagonizing them further. Moreover, it would also mean aligning itself with two countries that are deeply suspicious of China's rise. Besides the US's obvious stance, Russia too, even if for the moment is conjuncturally linked to China, wants to be itself the major power in the region, not anybody else. And if in the future Russia should feel emboldened enough, it could easily turn on its former allies, and China knows that. Alternatively, China could choose to forge closer ties with India, leaving aside their border clashes that would seem petty in the new global scheme, and also with the European Union. Forging up close relations with India and the EU would most definitely tip the balance in their favor, at least from the population standpoint, but from the economic standpoint also. The EU is a major economic power. It is also increasingly concerned about Russia's assertiveness and is looking for other reliable allies now that the US is more and more unpredictable. An alliance between China, India, and the EU would be a formidable force in global affairs. China's pivot towards the EU and away from Russia would have a major impact on the future of the international system. This is a decision that will be made with great care and deliberation. If China were to choose to strengthen ties with the EU, it would represent a significant shift in global dynamics. China has been actively pursuing its Belt and Road Initiative. This initiative aims to connect China to Europe and Africa through a network of infrastructure projects. A closer relationship with the EU would facilitate these ambitions. The EU, for its part, is eager to diversify its economic partnerships. The EU has become increasingly reliant on China for trade and investment, but let's not forget about China's military power too. and what would mean for any country or alliance to be backed up by China. A stronger partnership with China would give the EU greater leverage in its dealings with the United States. The potential for a China-India-EU axis is just one of the many unknowns in the emerging global order. As the United States reorients its foreign policy, the rest of the world is scrambling to adjust. The coming years will be a time of great change and uncertainty. The decisions made during this period will shape the world for decades to come. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on global politics. Thank you for watching.